Welcome to 5 Fresh Tips, a podcast from Fresh Starts Registry. Our Fresh Starts experts are here to help you with everything you need to begin again, starting with 5 simple fresh tips. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Hi, I'm Kara Regas, a boundaries and burnout coach and a Fresh Starts expert. I'm here today with 5 fresh tips to help you have more energy and confidence by setting healthy boundaries. The first tip is understanding the difference between boundaries and rules. What this means is when we have a rule, it's something that we're going to tell other people to do. The problem with that is that we don't have any control over other people at the end of the day. They're going to do what they're going to do. The great thing about boundaries is they're not about controlling other people's behavior. So the difference between a rule and a boundary is that a rule is something you can't control and a boundary is something you can, specifically your own behavior. So boundaries, you'll know you're doing a boundary because you are talking about what you will and won't do depending on what's going on around you. The second tip is identifying the signs that you need to adjust your boundaries. So a lot of people don't know when they need to do something about their boundaries. Boundaries can be too loose and they can also be too tight. More often though, we have trouble with not having enough boundaries or good enough boundaries or tight enough boundaries. So if you are not sure whether your boundaries are working for you, you can ask yourself how you feel in different situations. So some of the key signs that maybe you need to look at your boundaries are feeling angry, feeling resentful, and generally feeling really stressed, especially in particular situations or around particular people. So the third tip is learning the connection between unhealthy boundaries and burnout. Now, I've already alluded to this a little bit, but to really point to it directly, when we don't have strong boundaries, specifically when they're too loose or too porous, as some people say, what we're doing is we're not standing up for what we need. A boundary, another way to describe a boundary is to be acting on a need that you have at any given moment. So if, for example, I'm at a party and I am feeling tired and I'm kind of trying to push through, I'm actually not acting on one of my own needs right now. And it's another way of saying that is saying I'm not upholding a boundary that I have. In this case, a boundary to respect my own energy and to act on my need for rest, which in this case means leaving the party. So this is the connection. When we don't stand up for our needs, we're not having healthy boundaries. We end up burning out because we just don't have energy to do what we need to do in the world. So the fourth tip is about setting and maintaining clear boundaries step by step. So step by step usually looks like what we've been going through already, identifying the key signs that you need to adjust your boundaries, understanding actually how to set them, that is, understanding the difference between rules and boundaries, understanding your motivation, which often means looking at your energy, and then setting boundaries in real life, which means looking at how you're feeling, figuring out where the energy drains are, asking yourself what you need, and then asking yourself, what can you change for yourself to meet that need? So the last tip for us today is learning how to speak directly and asserting your needs. This is really important when it comes to setting boundaries. And a lot of people struggle with this when we're struggling with boundaries. And the reason for that is boundaries and people-pleasing behavior is usually connected. So when we're people-pleasing, we usually are trying not to tell someone how we really feel or what we really need because we're trying to take care of that other person's feelings. So learning how to speak directly to other people, still in a kind and respectful way, but nonetheless saying what you need and how you feel, and not necessarily apologizing for that, is really, really important if you want to set boundaries effectively. So I hope these 5 fresh tips helped you to have more energy and confidence. Remember, you can always find me at Fresh Starts Registry in the Expert Guide. I'm Kara Regas, and never forget, we're proud of you.
Thank you for listening to 5 Fresh Tips, a podcast from Fresh Starts Registry. To browse the expert resource guide and build your hype team today, head to freshstartsregistry.com/experts. And remember, we are always so proud of you. Keep up the amazing work.